The sky over Chicago wasn't black at 4:45 a.m. It was a deep, bruised purple, the kind of color that feels heavy just to look at. On the 12th floor of a West Loop apartment building, a sound sliced through the quiet, the sharp, digital chirp of an iPhone alarm. A hand belonging to a 31-year-old named Maya slapped the nightstand blindly until it found the phone. The screen's light was brutally bright in the dark room. It showed the date, Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. The calendar notification below it said, Q1 review prep to 7 a.m. Beneath that, a push notification from a popular meditation app glowed cheerfully. Congratulations, 7-day mindfulness streak. And at the very top, a Slack message from her boss, sent at 2:14 a.m., was previewed, Maya, circling back on the deck. Let's pivot the narrative entirely before the call. Maya pushed back the expensive linen sheets, her feet finding the cool hardwood floor. She could feel the dryness in her mouth, the faint thrum of a headache already starting behind her eyes. This was the routine. She padded to the kitchen, the city's distant, constant hum, a sound she barely registered anymore. The click of the electric kettle, the whisk of the matcha bamboo whisk in a hand-thrown ceramic bowl she bought after a find-your-piece workshop. She performed these motions with a strange, empty precision. While the tea steeped, she opened her meditation app. She selected a 5-minute morning clarity session. The guide's soothing voice filled her AirPods. Find your breath, it said. Allow yourself to be present, but Maya's eyes were already on her laptop, scanning her inbox. Her fingers tapped out a reply to the 2M message. On it. We'll have new direction by 6. Her breath was shallow, her chest tight. The disconnect was a physical ache, the calm voice in her ears, the rising tide of panic in her body. She took her matcha to her small, perfectly tidy desk. Next to her monitor was a beautiful, leather-bound journal. She opened it. The page for March 11th had a pre-printed prompt at the top. I am grateful for... She stared at it. Her pen hovered. She could hear the clock on her microwave ticking in the other room. Asterisk, tick, 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 asterisk, she wrote, I'm grateful for. This journal. Then she let out a sigh so deep it almost hurt, and closed the book. The leather felt smooth and cool, but it felt like a prop, a break before the real work began. She grabbed her phone and did what everyone does. She opened Instagram. Her feed was a waterfall of achieved peace. There was her college friend Leo doing sunrise yoga on a cliff in Costa Rica, the caption about manifesting abundance. There was a former colleague, now a spiritual business coach, posting a video about aligning your chakras for quarterly success. Another friend had a story up of her immaculate, crystal-filled altar with the quote, If you're seeking, you're not finding. Be still. Everyone seemed to have it figured out. A perfect blend of inner peace and outer victory. They weren't just successful. They were enlightened about their success. Maya scrolled, and with each flick of her thumb, she could feel something inside her sink a little lower. It wasn't jealousy, not exactly. It was a heavier, colder feeling. It was the feeling of being behind, of failing at the thing she was supposed to be best at, her own life. She had the job in the city, the nice apartment, the matcha, the journal, the meditation streak. She was doing all the right things, checking all the boxes of a person who was awake and on purpose. So why did she feel more lost now than she did 5 years ago, before she knew what a chakra was? She put the phone face down. The silence in the apartment felt loud. Outside, the first sliver of orange sun was cutting between the downtown skyscrapers, painting a stripe of light across her floor. It should have felt hopeful. It just felt like a deadline. This was the daily ritual, the exhausting dance. By day, she was a marketing manager fighting for budget, analyzing data, navigating office politics. By night and early morning, she was a seeker. She was trying to be soft in a world that rewarded hardness. She was trying to find flow in a schedule ruled by back-to-back Google Calendar invites. She was trying to be high vibe while her nervous system was buzzing with low-grade panic. The two worlds weren't merging. They were at war, and she was the battlefield. And here's the thought that crept in these quiet, pre-dawn moments. Asterisk, what if I'm broken at this? What if everyone else is genuinely finding it, and I'm the only one pretending? Asterisk, she took a last sip of her matcha. It tasted bitter. She'd forgotten the honey. This is the reality for so many of us right now in 2025. We're more spiritually aware than any generation before us. We have apps for peace, journals for gratitude, communities online telling us we're divine beings. We've been told that spirituality is the ultimate upgrade, the final piece of the puzzle. So we pursue it with the same hustle we apply to everything else. We try to optimize our souls. And when we still feel empty, when we still feel anxious, when we scroll and see everyone else seemingly living in a state of grace, we think the problem is us. We think, I must not be meditating right. I need a better journal. I need that online course. I need to go on that retreat. But what if you're not failing? What if you're just looking for the wrong things? What if your search for purpose isn't failing because you're not trying hard enough, but because the map you've been given is leading you in circles? Let me ask you one question that might feel uncomfortable. It's okay if it does. Really sit with it. What if your spirituality has become just another performance? Another thing your CU are ATING for the world and for yourself to prove you're okay? That meditation streak? Is it a practice or is it a metric? A beautiful journal? Is it a place of honesty or is it a stage? That desire to post the perfect, peaceful quote? Is it an expression of your truth or is it a subtle way of saying, look, I'm winning at inner peace too. We've been sold a beautiful, seductive lie. The lie that spirituality is a tool for self-optimization, that its purpose is to make you calmer, more productive, more attractive, more successful, that it's a shiny filter you apply to your already busy life. And that lie? It's draining you. It's creating a secret shame because deep down you know you're performing. You feel the gap between the curated peace and the real chaos inside. But here is the truly hopeful part, the part that changed everything for me. That feeling of being lost, that ache of disconnect, that isn't proof you're failing. That's proof you're ready. That's your soul, tired of the performance, knocking on the door of your heart. That emptiness is not a pit. It's a space waiting to be filled with something real, something true, something that doesn't need to be posted about. Because 2025 isn't asking us to be more spiritually perfect. It's asking us to be spiritually real. And that journey starts not with adding another thing to your to-do list, but with questioning the one you're already carrying. So take a breath, a real one, not for your streak, not to center yourself for the day's battles. Just breathe because you're here. The sun is now fully streaming into Maya's apartment, painting everything gold. The city is waking up. The hum is turning into a roar. And somewhere in you, beneath the to-do lists and the notifications and the quiet shame, a tiny brave part of you is also waking up. It's wondering if the old map is wrong, where do we go next? The lie we believe is a quiet one. It doesn't shout. It whispers, and it often sounds like wisdom. It was a Thursday afternoon, about 2 weeks after that early morning we talked about. Maya was in a sleek, silent conference room on the 40th floor, overlooking the river. The view was all steel and glass and ambition. She was in a meeting about brand authenticity. The speaker, a consultant dressed in linen, was saying, "Your personal energy is your most valuable currency in 2025. Maya nodded, taking notes. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A notification from a newsletter she subscribed to. The 5 crystals you need for career abundance this quarter. She quickly swiped it away. Later, walking back to her desk through the buzz of the open office, she overheard 2 colleagues talking. "I just can't deal with negative people anymore," one said. "Yeah, totally. I'm protecting my peace. I only do high-vibe interactions now." Maya sat down at her desk. Her computer background was a serene mountain landscape with the word breathe overlaid in a nice font. She felt a familiar, hollow feeling. She had said something similar last week. A friend had called, crying about a breakup, and Maya had listened, but then found herself saying, "You just have to trust the universe's plan." Maybe this is a lesson in detachment. She'd meant to be helpful, but later she cringed. It had felt more like a dismissal than comfort. It was as if she put up a spiritual wall between her and her friend's very real, very human pain. This is the trap. And it's so easy to fall into. We start to believe that being spiritual or on a journey means we have to be permanently serene, permanently positive, permanently above the messy, grimy, difficult stuff of being human. We think our spiritual identity must be curated, resilient, and inspiring to others at all times. We don't just want to be peaceful. We want to be seen as peaceful. We don't just want to grow. We want to have a beautiful, Instagram-ready story about our growth. Our spirituality becomes a brand, and a brand has to be consistent. A brand can't have bad days. Let me tell you about someone I know. We'll call him David. David is, by all outward measures, incredibly successful. He built a tech startup in Austin that sold for a life-changing amount of money before he was 35. He then pivoted to being a mindful leadership coach. His LinkedIn was a masterpiece. Posts about leading with compassion, about meditation before board meetings, about finding purpose beyond profit. He had thousands of followers. People commented, "You're living the dream, and this is the future of business." And David was meditating. He was reading the books. He was saying the right things, but privately he was crumbling. The pressure to be the mindful leader was even greater than the pressure he felt running his startup. Now, he wasn't just responsible for business outcomes. He was responsible for being a walking, talking example of enlightenment in the business world. He couldn't admit he was scared about his next move. He couldn't admit he felt jealous when a friend launched a new venture. He couldn't admit that sometimes he just wanted to watch dumb TV and not think about his dharma or legacy. To his audience, he was a monument. But inside, he felt like he was trying to hold up that monument with trembling, tired arms.
Have you ever scrolled through social media and felt a little spiritually inadequate? You see these gurus and influencers, all glowing with ethereal light, talking about high vibrations and cosmic awakenings, and you think, wow, they really have it all figured out. They seem so pure, so enlightened, so perfect. But what if I told you that a lot of what you're seeing is a carefully constructed performance? What if this quest for spiritual perfection is actually a trap? This is what I call the spiritual identity trap. It's this modern trend where spirituality isn't just a personal journey anymore. It's become a brand. People build an identity around being spiritual. They wear the right clothes, use the right jargon, and post the most aesthetically pleasing pictures of their meditation setup. It's all about creating an image of enlightenment, a personal brand that screams, "I am evolved." But here's the problem. This brand, this identity, often becomes a mask. It's a way to hide from the messiness of being human. We're all flawed. We all have bad days. We all get angry, feel jealous, or say things we regret. That's part of the human experience. But the spiritual identity trap tells us we can't show that. We have to be positive all the time. We have to be serene, compassionate, and perpetually grateful. Any deviation from this perfect image feels like a failure. So we start hiding. We suppress our negative emotions because they don't fit the brand. We pretend we're not struggling because an enlightened person wouldn't struggle. We become performers in our own lives, curating a highlight reel of spiritual moments while shoving the difficult, raw, and authentic parts of ourselves into the shadows. We are so busy maintaining the facade of being a spiritual person that we forget to just be a person. This isn't true spirituality. True spiritual growth isn't about becoming a flawless divine being who floats above human problems. It's about diving headfirst into the beautiful, chaotic mess of your own humanity. It's about learning to hold space for your anger just as much as your joy. It's about having compassion for yourself when you mess up. It's about integrating your shadows, not pretending they don't exist. Think about it. The most profound moments of growth often come from our biggest challenges, our darkest nights. When we try to bypass these experiences to maintain a high-vibe identity, we rob ourselves of the very lessons we're meant to learn. We get stuck in a spiritual cul-de-sac, polishing our halo while our soul is starving for real, honest experience. The pressure to perform is immense, especially online. The algorithm rewards perfection. A picture of a serene yoga pose on a mountaintop will always get more likes than a post about crying on your kitchen floor because you feel lost. So we conform. We trade authenticity for approval, and in the process, we lose touch with ourselves. We start to believe our own performance. The mask becomes our face. So how do we break free? We start by giving ourselves permission to be human, permission to be imperfect, permission to have a bad day and not have to find a spiritual lesson in it right away. Sometimes a bad day is just a bad day, and that's okay. Embrace your contradictions. You can be a deeply spiritual person who also loves trashy reality TV. You can be a meditation teacher who sometimes yells in traffic. These things don't negate your spirituality. They make you a whole, complex human being. True integration is about embracing all parts of yourself, not just the pretty Instagram-worthy ones. Let's challenge this culture of performative enlightenment. Let's make spirituality a safe space for messiness again, a space where we can show up with our doubts, our fears, and our flaws, and know that we are still worthy, still on the path. Your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't need to be aesthetically pleasing or neatly packaged for public consumption. Your spiritual path is yours alone. It will be messy and beautiful and confusing and enlightening all at once, and that's the whole point. The goal isn't to escape your humanity. It's to become more fully, deeply, and authentically human. Let's stop trying to build a perfect spiritual brand and start living a real, imperfect, and truly spiritual life. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more conversations about real, messy spirituality. See you next time. The moment you step out of the identity trap, the moment you decide to ground yourself in your real, uncurated humanity, is the moment you become infinitely more interesting, more relatable, and yes, more powerful. Your energy stops being spent on maintaining a facade. That's a massive amount of energy, energy that can now flow into creating, connecting, and truly living. The curtain is pulled back. You're not running from the mess anymore. You're looking at it with compassion, and that changes everything. But a single moment of honesty isn't enough to dismantle a lifetime of conditioning. The system that built the perfect spiritual room fights back. It fights back at dawn, in the quiet moments, in the triggers of daily life. So how do you move from a single brave moment to a new way of living? How do you win the daily war for your real self? It was a Sunday night. Maya was in her apartment, the city lights outside her window like a field of low, electric stars. She was tired, not the good, accomplished tired from a day well spent, the heavy drained tired from a week of performing. Her phone was on the coffee table, face down. She'd just spent 20 minutes scrolling, caught in that loop where you check Instagram, then Twitter, then the news, then your email, then Instagram again, hoping the content will somehow be different. It never is. Her mind felt like a browser with 50 tabs open, and half of them were frozen. The idea came to her not as a grand inspiration, but as a whisper. A tiny, almost annoying thought. What if you just wrote it down? Not in the beautiful journal, just somewhere. Just one true thing. She picked up her phone, her thumbprint unlocking it with a soft click. She opened the Notes app. She created a new note. She titled it, Nothing. The cursor blinked on the blank white space, impatient. The prompt she'd heard somewhere echoed in her head. Today, a part of me felt. She started to type. Today, a part of me felt. And then she stopped. Her fingers hovered. What was the truth? The easy answer, the spiritual answer, would be grateful or hopeful. But that wasn't the raw data of the day. The truth was quieter and less impressive. She typed, tired of trying to be positive. She stared at the sentence. It looked so plain, so whiny. It didn't look spiritual. It looked like complaining. The inner critic, the one that maintained her spiritual brand, spoke up immediately. Really? That's it? After all the opportunities you have, you're tired? You sound ungrateful. You should delete that and write something productive. This was the resistance. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was a smooth, logical voice telling her this was a waste of time, that it was backward, that growth was about focusing on the light, not acknowledging the shadow. She felt a physical urge to hit the backspace key. Her index finger actually twitched toward it. This tiny act of honesty, in the privacy of her own phone, felt more vulnerable than giving a presentation at work. But she didn't delete it. She just put the phone down. She didn't feel better. She didn't feel a wave of relief. She just felt a little weird, a little exposed, even to herself. That was the first crack. It wasn't a beautiful, jagged lightning bolt across the sky. It was a hairline fracture in a thick wall. You could barely see it, but air could get through. The next night, Monday, she did it again. This time she was in bed, the blue light of her phone the only illumination. The day had been long. A project at work had hit a snag. She opened the note. The cursor blinked below yesterday's lonely sentence. She typed, "Today, a part of me felt stupid in the meeting when I couldn't answer Mark's question quickly." Again, the cringe. Stupid. What a non-enlightened word. A truly mindful person wouldn't tie their worth to a work question. She was supposed to be detached from outcomes. She almost added a second sentence to reframe it. But I know my worth isn't defined by my performance. That would have made it acceptable. That would have tied a neat little bow on it. But she didn't. She left the raw, ugly, honest sentence alone. She placed the phone on her nightstand. The room was dark. She could hear the faint, constant sigh of the air conditioning. She felt a strange sensation. It wasn't happiness. It was the absence of a small, constant pressure. The pressure to immediately fix the feeling, to make it presentable. For just a few seconds, she had let the feeling just be. She had given it a name and a place to exist, without judgment. She fell asleep a minute later, and for the first time in weeks, she didn't remember dreaming. Then came Wednesday. Wednesday was a trigger day. She saw a post on LinkedIn from an old colleague. This person had just launched their own wellness brand, with a beautiful website and a press release. The post was full of grateful, high-vibe language, and Maya felt it, that hot, acidic twist in her gut. Jealousy, pure, unadulterated jealousy. For Maya, the test came almost immediately. It was a Tuesday morning, exactly 1 week after she'd written about her jealousy. Her alarm blasted the same generic digital tone. Her hand shot out to silence it, and her first instinct was to reach for her phone to check the overnight emails. The pull was physical, like a magnet. Her mind was already clicking into gear. What needs fixing? What needs doing? Who needs me? This is the daily battleground. It's not the dramatic, once-in-a-lifetime confrontation. It's the quiet, repetitive choices you make every single minute. It's the choice between reacting on autopilot and responding with intention.
But then she remembered. Not a grand resolution, just a tiny agreement she'd made with herself the night before. Before the scroll, before the inbox, before the day's performance began. Just 60 seconds. She put the phone back down, screen facing the mattress. She closed her eyes, but not to meditate. The word meditation had too much baggage now. It felt like a task. This was simpler. This was just noticing. The guide was easy. Name one thing you see hear feel with your touch and smell right here, right now before you get up. Her eyes were closed, so see was the dark red-black of her own eyelids, speckled with faint, drifting shapes. Here, she listened. There was the low, white noise hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen. There was the distant, muted wail of a siren, probably on Lakeshore Drive. There was her own breath, a little shallow, entering and leaving her nose. Feel, she focused on the sensation of touch. The soft, worn cotton of her t-shirt against her chest. The heavy, comforting weight of the duvet pressing down on her legs. The smooth, cool surface of her phone under her palm. Smell. She took a slow breath in through her nose. The faint, clean scent of laundry detergent on her sheets. A lingering trace of last night's chamomile tea, that was it. 60 seconds. Maybe less? She didn't feel enlightened. She didn't feel a surge of peace. She just felt here, in her body, in this room. Not yet hurtling mentally into the future. It was a small anchor dropped into the morning. This is the first daily action. The 60-second sensory grounding. It's not about emptying your mind. It's about filling it, just for a moment, with the actual physical reality you're in. Before you step into the digital reality, you reaffirm that you have a body, and it's in a place. This simple act is a quiet rebellion against the disembodied, frantic pace of 2025. The workday unfolded, a blur of meetings and messages. The second test came just before her 11 a.m. cross-functional sync. She was in her home office, her finger hovering over the join button on Zoom. The old script in her head was playing loudly. Be sharp. Be concise. Sound like you have all the answers. Defend your team's timeline. But then she heard the whisper of the second agreement. The purpose pause. One question to ask yourself before any significant interaction. Is my primary goal here to perform competence or to seek connection? She let the question hang in the air. For this meeting about project bottlenecks, the obvious answer felt like perform competence, but she sat with it for just 3 more seconds. If her only goal was to perform competence, she'd talk more than she listened. She'd be focused on sounding smart, not on solving the problem. What if her goal was to seek connection, a genuine connection with her colleagues to find a real solution? Her posture changed almost without her thinking. Her shoulders dropped slightly. She took a breath and clicked join when her turn came to speak. Instead of launching into a defensive explanation, she heard herself say, I'm stuck on the design bottleneck too. What are you seeing from your end? It shifted the energy in the virtual room, just a little. The day, of course, was not a straight line upward. The setbacks are inevitable. They're not failures, they're data points. Later that afternoon, she got a frustrating email from a vendor delaying a key component. The old, hot surge of anger flashed through her. And the old, spiritual bypass voice followed right on its heels. Asterisk, don't get angry. Stay peaceful. It's all divine timing, asterisk. This used to create an internal civil war, the anger versus the shame about the anger. But now, because of the evening uncuration ritual, she had a new path. She didn't try to smother the anger. She mentally gave it a tiny label. Asterisk, frustration is here. Asterisk, she didn't say it was good or bad. She just acknowledged its presence, like noting a cloud passing in front of the sun. The feeling didn't vanish, but its sharp edges softened. It became something she was experiencing, not something that was controlling her. She drafted a firm but professional reply, sent it, and moved on. The war was over in seconds, not hours. This is the daily war. It's not fought with giant gestures. It's fought in these tiny, almost invisible moments of choice. The choice to ground before you scroll. The choice to seek connection over performance. The choice to name a feeling instead of fighting it. Now, how do you know you're winning a war you can't really see? You track the small wins? Not with a fancy app, but with a simple visual timeline. Maya started a note in her phone called Patterns. At the end of each week, she'd skim her uncuration notes. She wasn't looking for positivity, she was looking for frequency. One week, she saw the word should appear 7 times. Asterisk, I should be further along. I should be more grateful. Asterisk, the next week, it appeared 4 times. The week after, twice. That was a win. The internal critic was losing airtime. Another week, she noticed the first time she wrote, a part of me felt quietly proud of how I handled that. Not a loud, boastful pride, but a gentle internal nod. That was a victory, too. The timeline wasn't a graph of happiness. It was a map of her becoming more real. Doing this alone is possible, but it's like swimming upstream. Doing it with one other person is like having someone in the boat with you, taking turns with the paddles. Maya finally told her friend Chloe about it. Not as a grand confession, but in a simple text. Trying this weird thing where I just write one honest sentence about my day in my notes. No frills, it's kinda hard.